Match your speed.
Okay, yes. You know, thank you. You know, lots of times in groups, I'll start my group and I'll say, and please, you know, we have limited time. Please keep up with the speed of instruction. Please try to keep up with the speed of instruction. You know, and you'll have opportunities to ask questions. There's a certain amount I want to get finished through with you today. So you have some distinctions about yourself, but also distinctions about what a quantum economics work environment would look like. What does a quantum economics business look like? What differentiates it from any other business? Because many of the things that we've gone over, and I may still go over, I don't know that I'll have the time, but in your book, many of the things are appropriate to any business. You know, we have you'll see in there something called a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to your business. That's SWOT, that's W-O-T. That applies to any business. What we call a gap analysis, right? Here's where we are, here's where we want to be. That's a gap. We do a gap analysis. That applies to any business, right? So there are things in there, even some of the branding principles that we talked about yesterday applies to any business. So our job is to understand how to quantize these things. That's the word I used. How to quantize the business model and take these standard basic business principles, and many of them are very advanced business principles when you dive into them and see what is possible for yourself in the business. But I think the basics are really quite appropriate here. And the reason I say that is, first of all, this group has been a very sharp group, and I don't know what I expected to come as my first trip, but you guys have been great. You've been a very sharp group, you've been attentive, you've been interactive and all that, and that's what speakers want. That's what speakers should want. That's what they want. At the same time, when I assess maybe where you are with regard to your business model, either individually or even culturally, there's some things you're not used to doing that we need to get you used to doing, in the habit of doing, so that you can further your business model. Okay? So Amit and I make a good team. Not only East and West, but I'm the do guy and he's the BBB guy. so we have to keep both. We have to keep both in balance. I think we balance each other, and I love to be as well. But it's true that sometimes that's what gets shortchanged in my own life and in my own approach to business. So being is very, very important. To focus too much on do, for one thing, is to buy into the illusion that we actually really are in control, which we're not. I mean, you know, we have to do some things, right? I mean, the Bhagavad Gita, probably the number one principle, Amit covered it yesterday, number one principle that I would pull out of the Bhagavad Gita for business is to do your dharma. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Do right action. Do what is consistent and congruent with the archetype that is pulling you into this world, is pulling you into manifestation. But then surrender the fruits. And I'll tell you what, that's a hard thing to do. And it's easy to say, isn't it? It's a hard thing to do, and it's especially hard in the West. Because we drive for results, and we drive to gain. Okay, we drive to gain. We look to take. Right? We did the Kubera versus Lakshmi yesterday to explain the difference. And so much more. And there are principles in the West. Don't get me wrong. There are principles in the West and philosophies that are, let's say, non-Eastern, that would still teach that giving is what we should be doing. Giving is what we should be doing. But there's a lot of conditioning in my culture about going after it, you know, doing what you want. And as a law of attraction guy, I'm also about creating the life that you want, creating the desires that you want to manifest in this world. I had one of the things, and then we have a special Lolita and I have a special treat for you. One of the things I just wanted to point out, when we talked about a little bit, Amit talked about your purpose, right? And we can look at that in two ways, and I look at it in two ways now. And I'm going to share with you what I've articulated as my purpose, and also, that will show you how in sync and aligned Amit and I are, and this was even before I met him, okay? And so we have a purpose, we have an individual purpose, we have propensities, we have archetypes that we are drawn to. Archetype of business is abundance, but in the medical profession that you're also guided by that of healing, that of wholeness. If you're a philosopher, if you're a physicist, you're guided by the archetype of truth, because the archetype of truth is the one that pulls us into, that inspires us to try to understand what is the ultimate meaning of reality. What is the ultimate truth? Okay? If you are an artist and you are trying to have a livelihood in the arts, well, you're still guided by abundance because you're in business. At the same time, you're guided by the archetype of beauty, right? So these are the things. So we're guided in. One of the things in discovering our purpose is what archetype or archetypes are attracting us into what it is we're doing. And do you feel that you're doing in alignment and congruent with that archetype, or are you living according to someone else's rules and someone else's agendas and someone else's expectations? Okay, so it's important to know that. So when I wrote this book, by the way, this is my book. I've written several books. This is my book on law of attraction. Explorer's Guide to the Law of Attraction, how to tap into the quantum part, for happiness and success. Okay, so if you're interested in this, you can go to Amazon, and the next time I come back, if you do buy a book on Amazon, the next time I come back, you bring the book and I'll sign it for you, because that's always fun to do. But in this book is articulated for the very first time what I found as my purpose, my calling. And when I articulated it,
what is the name of the book?
Explorer's Guide to the Law of Attraction. Explorer's Guide to the Law of Attraction. When I articulated what has been my meaning and my purpose and my calling much of my life, it came out like this. And you'll understand how congruent it is with much of the philosophy and the spirituality and the business principles that we've been talking about for the last 3 days. So here it is. I take as my purpose, okay, to advance the universal conversation that consciousness creates everything, that we are that consciousness, and that we are empowered and responsible to create our day, our life, and our destiny. That's it in a nutshell. And when it first dawned on me, it was an aha experience. It was an aha because I could articulate it. There were pieces of the puzzle of many decades of my life that were here, there. You know, I mentioned yesterday, I had at one point in my life branded myself as the potentializer. Well, I'm an empowerment guy. I like to help you. I like to empower you, but I like to help you understand that you are empowered and responsible for creating your own life. So whatever that means. Okay, whatever that means. And I have taken as my journey or my business, one of my life's callings, is to help you develop your potential. I get a lot of gratification out of that. I get enormous gratification out of looking at what you do and help you drive your potential. And lots of times the reason for coaching is that, you know, you can't, here's the expression Jim Rohn used to say, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So you need somebody who's back here looking, listening, questioning, helping you connect the dots, who can see the picture because you're in the frame. Right? That's why coaching is so important. Life coaching, business coaching. Well, we know athletic coaching, music coaching, coaching in the arts. We're familiar with that. Okay, so individual purpose, but also understanding, and this would be through meditation, through the be part of meditation, in which the aha emerges as to what archetype you're in alignment with. And when that happens, you let it happen, you're open to it, and even if it means that you've discovered in meditation that, oh my God, I'm living somebody else's life. This is not me at all. You know, even if that is awareness that propels you on the path of truth, even if initially it's a little discomfort. Okay, so I want to set our intention today as getting all we can get in the time we have together, and having the belief and faith that I will share what I need to share. You will hear what you need to hear, because there's far too much to go through. I'm not even going to look at trying to get through everything. We'll never get through anything. We try to get through anything. But what downward causation inspires me to say will be what I need to say, will be what you need to hear. And what you hear will be what you need to hear. Okay, so that's our intention for today. Now, Lalita has such a beautiful, beautiful voice. Does everybody know that? Yes. Does everybody know what a beautiful voice? Come up here. You're so great. Come up here. So we're going to do a 5-minute chant, but it's call and response. I'm going to teach you the chant. Most of you probably know it. You don't need me to teach you the chant. But I used to be a lead chanter in a chanting ensemble, and so I love to chant. And I don't do enough chanting anymore. And maybe, so what we're going to chant is Govinda Jaya Jaya. Does everybody know, does anybody else know Govinda Jaya Jaya? Yes, yes, yes? Yes. All right, come up here. All right, come up. One more man, one more woman. Come on up, come on up. Come on up. So this isn't call and response. Call and response. We're the lead group, you're the response group. And we're gonna go, it goes, if you don't already know it, if you already know it, I apologize. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. That's going to be repeated twice. We're going to do it, you're going to do it, we're going to do it, you're going to do it. Okay? Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Then, after it's repeated twice, the next line is Rama Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Right? Rama Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Okay? And we're going to get into it for like 5 minutes. Let's get our energy up. Okay, ready? Was that a good key? Let's try to do. Okay. Ready? 1, 2. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. 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 Rama Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Rama Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Rama Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Rama Ramana Christ. That, of course, you know, is a Krishna chant. Gopal and Govinda, two other names for Krishna, and Amit did a lot on Krishna this weekend, and it's really great. Okay, so yes, a couple of you asked me about my slides. Can you have my slides? No, I can't give you my slides. Can't give you my slides. It's our intellectual property, and we spent a lot of time developing it, and a course, both a live course and an online course, it's going to be based on the slides. So I can't do that. I just can't do that. And I hope you understand that. So, okay. So I want to go through, we're going to talk, in the time we have left, we're going to focus on the quantumizing your business. And I was sharing with some people in advance of our session that what differentiates a quantum business is, well, I was sharing with all of you, what differentiates a quantum business are the principles of quantum economics, principles of quantum economics, principles of quantum activism. So as quantum activists now, and as business owners now, I would love for a commitment, Amit would love for a commitment to leave here and obviously review what you have learned, but with the intention, with the strong intention and commitment to implement gradually into your business these principles. Because that's going to differentiate you. And that's going to help, as Amit said, as the Sangam, that's going to help as a group, our helping consciousness along. We're part of that purposive evolution of consciousness. And we do it in the ways in which we're doing it, in the ways in which we have been taught to do it vis-a-vis quantum economics and quantum activism in general, and quantum economics in particular, specifically. So that's what we're going to do. We talked about the ideal client. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of these things really quickly. Ideal client, yes. I work with Hilton, I work with McDonald's, and what I found is if you're working with others and you're spreading the word, let's say on quantum activism, or you're differentiating your business on the basis of quantum activist principles, know that part of the profile of your ideal client will definitely be a client who already has a propensity for this kind of thing. Don't try to go into a company with your services where there's no sensitivity whatsoever to quantum principles, to spiritual principles. They just don't get it. It's just all about profit. You're going to get up in a big argument, and you're going to see in terms of time management. Time management is energy management. Time management is energy management. So when we talked about the ideal client, that means what? That there are clients that you might have that are not ideal, and I'm going to take it a step further. There are people that are not worthy of your time. I mean, as human beings, we're all God. Yes, we're all equal in the eyes of God. But as a business and as a potential client, not everyone is worthy of your time. And if you give your attention to everyone, you will exhaust yourself, and you'll make no money on top of it all. We're not in business to be broke. Okay, so we're in business to find out who's the ideal client. Who wants to hear what we have to say? Who values our work, our service, our product, already have a propensity for it. When I worked with the Hilton and McDonald's, I was working with general managers and owners who already had a love for this in one way or another. They already did. Okay, yes?
But how, we say all are our potential clients, right? So how do we identify that this person is worth it, but this person is not?
Yeah, you go through something that we will not be able to go through today. But I'll work with you. Now remember, thank you for reminding me indirectly. I wanted to remind everyone that if you want a consultation with me, this is a free 30-minute consultation, sign up for this. And if that's your question or anybody else's question, I'll deal with that on the phone. But basically it's a matter of you're going to learn how to profile your ideal client. And it's through an activity called clarity through contrast. You're going to identify what you don't want You're going to identify what you don't want first. You're going to delete all these things. And you're going to identify then what you do want. And we're going to put a profile around it. And that's one way in which we were going to put out that profile in order to attract that ideal client to us and us to them. So yes, there are ways to do it. It's a good question. How do you know? How do you know? There's another way you know. How else would you know? How else would you know? Energetically. Boom. You're talking to somebody. How many of us, at least in the West, I've been to many, many events, and even you know, Singapore, Malaysia, South Africa, places like that that are not that are not the United States. And you are in networking environments, right? You're in networking environments. And you know when somebody comes into your, I call them energy circles. Whether you call it what, you know, and I also like to create energy circles. But somebody comes into your energy circle and you can feel it. This is somebody that I can talk to. This is somebody I may hit it off with. This is somebody I want to do business with. This is somebody I want to run from.
So that's the correct call, right? When we feel that, okay, this guy is...
There's a general principle, although I am personally in my life have been wrong a number of times, but I'm going to tell you the general principle anyway, and I'm going to tell you how I've been wrong. The general principle is, if it feels right, it is. If it feels wrong, it isn't. I have had in my life several people who have become my best friends. Best friends. And my first impression of them is, I don't like this guy.
Yes, exactly.
But what is that? What is that, I don't like this guy? What's happening? What's emerging?
Something within me?
Something within me. My ego has spotted that ego, and as gurus are fond of saying, if you see another person's ego, that tells you where you are. Okay, so that's ego to ego. That was that ego to ego clash, where I'm saying, I don't like this guy, I don't like this person. And several times in my life, they became my best friends. Best friends. So, be careful, you know, just be cognizant of that. And if you get the red flags, we need to pay attention to our feelings. And if we get a red flag, we need to know, is this a real red flag? Let me deconstruct this red flag. Is this just my ego? Is this somebody that I don't like because he's too much like me? And I'm worried that he's going to take what I want? We have to be honest with ourselves. And witness, right? Witness, the witness consciousness, the self with a big S, is what we aspire to anyway. And if we can maintain that observer effect, that witness consciousness, we'll see whether our ego is involved or not. There are other people where it's very much clearer. They literally, you can feel them sucking your energy. That's a go away for me. That's a go away. Okay, so, okay. Very quickly.
Yes. How do you know if it's outside your comfort zone is why it's flipping your emotions or not? That's often tricky.
Yeah, good question. These are great questions. How do you know if something is outside your comfort zone is really, essentially really a danger or not, is what it comes down to. And we have in our repertoire, I guess, of nervous system, something called a psychocybernetic mechanism. But that's an old evolution piece of equipment that basically is the fight or flight, right? And lots of times when we're hearing an idea that is new to us, or we sense that, whoa, this is shaking my foundations here. I don't believe this at all. We put up barriers. So what I ask people to do is keep the barriers down. So we're asking ourselves, am I really in danger of being eaten by a tiger here? Do I really have to run away? Or should I stay here and listen to what I can listen to, learn if possible, and make an assessment on the spot? Okay, let's keep rolling along. Time management is energy management. One of the things, hold on 1 second, one of the things that you need to do, okay, we all need to do, is create, you know how we all have to-do lists, right? You should create a stop doing list. A stop doing list. What are you doing? And you know it, and if you don't know it, just look at your daily habits. Just look at your daily habits. What are you doing that is draining energy at any level? Draining energy for your family, draining energy for your children, draining energy for your business, draining energy for your spiritual growth. You know it, you know. And I'm speaking for myself too. I'm speaking for myself. So I'm not standing up here, please, as somebody who's got this perfect. You know, as a matter of fact, it's even said of the masters that the smoke arises, but they don't hold on to it. In our case, when the fire comes and the smoke arises, we often are attached to our emotions. But we need to look at our habits and be honest with ourselves without rationalizing. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. One more time, it's all right. You know what? I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start tomorrow. Those kinds of things we all tell ourselves, and the power is in the now. The power is in the now. Quickly.
In your previous slide, you had "you are your ideal client." I just thought if you could expand on that.
Where is it?
Last bullet point.
What does it say? Oh, you are your ideal client. Yeah, you are your ideal client. This is what I mean by that. That we already know, this group knows, and we know on the basis of the spiritual values that we embrace, that all eyes are one. All eyes are one. The same consciousness peers out of all sets of eyes. Okay? So what I'm speaking to of here is this, that understand that there is an ontological identity. Now, ontological means being. It has to do with being. There's an ontological being you have with people. And if you can think of your client as yourself, as opposed to a transaction, as opposed to a sale, think of your client as yourself, then that's what that means. You are your ideal client. The values that you have, the right values, the right action, the right thinking that you personify, that's who you want as a client. And remember yesterday too, we said that because social contribution, that happens to be level 2 of infusion of subtle energy, and I'm gonna need to jump to that. Because social contribution is one of the ways in which we differentiate ourselves as a quantum activist business, quantum economics business, then what I'm suggesting is that you incorporate into your ideal client statement that you would prefer to work with people also who are in alignment with that particular value. I want to work with others who want to make social contribution. Now, I had a discussion with someone yesterday, I think that had to do with, what if you have a client and that client is like 50% of your business and you're making $1 million for that client, and that client doesn't care a hill of beans about social contribution. Keep the client. It's $1 million. And take every opportunity you have with that client, every transaction, to make it be transformational. So that you are in a position, remember, one of your main products now is helping to develop human capital. Therefore, if you don't have that sensitivity of social contribution that I do, that I value, but you're an important client to me because you might be 50% of my income, I'm going to keep working on you nicely. I'm going to role model. I'm going to be the change I want to be. I'm going to invite that client to participate in perhaps charity events or social contribution experiences that I may sponsor. So be smart about it. Okay, don't be so rigid with these values that you shoot yourself in the foot, is the expression. Or you lean back so far in the chair that you fall over and bump your head. Okay, here's the thing about the future. Every time you look at it, here's the observer effect. Every time you look at it, it changes. Can you see that? It's yellow and black, okay. Every time you look at it, it changes because you looked at it. And that changes everything. That is a summary of the observer effect. That is the summary of the observer effect. Every time you look at it, it changes because you looked at it, and that changes everything. So I want to appeal to you. Most of you don't have what I think of as a strategic plan. I might share with you what would be a vibrational business plan, but I'm going to show you a 7-step strategic planning process that we use when we go in and work with companies. And something like that you should have on your books too, and visit periodically. Remember, every time you look at something, it changes. You are the observer. We change the observer. You have the observer, the observed, and the process of observation. Those are the 3 functions. Those are the 3 primary actions, if you will. processes. Okay? So every time you look at it, it changes because you looked at it. Here's another thing. Here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. It's good that you're getting these tapes because this guy talks so fast here, and he can't slow himself down. Here's another thing I want you to look at. I want you to think to yourself, every time you ask yourself the question, what is my greatest opportunity right now? What is my greatest opportunity right now? You have created a void. You've created an opening for a response to come as an aha in that being piece of creative thinking, right? The aha, the incubation. What is my greatest opportunity right now? And here's another interesting thing. Amit touched on it. If someone asked a question, we touched on it. We didn't dwell on it. But when you think of the quantum field, when you think of non-locality, right? Non-locality is the primary principle. A couple others, primary principle. Non-locality guarantees that you cannot ask a question for which, at least theoretically, an answer does not exist. There is something out there for you that is your best opportunity. And when you ask that, by the way, you begin to expand what's called the reticular activating system. Begin to expand. It's a neurological system running from the base of the head approximately down the spine. And it's what keeps out what you don't believe, expect, or accept about reality and allows in what you do expect, accept, and believe about reality. So what do we want to do? We want to expand our reticular activating system. So when I ask myself, what are my greatest opportunities right now? What have I done? I planted a seed in my subconscious to go look for this. And I must be open. I must be a better observer because things will appear. Things will appear. I was listening to an audiobook. I like audiobooks. I love audiobooks. And I was listening to an audiobook. It had something to do with attraction. And I was driving in the car, and the person mentioned something that reminded me that I want to do it now. I want to do it now. I'm gonna. If I don't do it now, I'm going to miss the opportunity. She was talking about opportunities. Or Swami Yogananda. This is beautiful. And he's got a short little book called I think it's called The Power of Success. It's wonderful. Okay, and it also helps put into context why it is all of us have more. Think about this. All of us have more than at least 85-90% of the rest of the globe. Now, you've got a couple options. I can feel guilty about that and therefore never attract anything to myself, because if I feel guilty about that, it means I don't deserve that. Or we can take the role of Yogananda where he says, opportunities come to you, they should be taken. You have earned them, he says. You have earned them through various incarnations, through various kinds of karma, so use them. So when an opportunity presents itself, okay, we want to embrace it. Now that doesn't mean jump into everything. We have to, lots of stuff comes into our horizon. It's not good for us.
So how
Right?
do we identify?
How do you identify the opportunities? The opportunities slap us in the face, and we don't see them. We don't see them. There's opportunity everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere. So you want to think of whatever what is your business model?
I'm into event organizing and filmmaking.
What kind of making?
And filmmaking and event organizing.
Okay, so you're an event planner? Was that fair?
Yes.
Okay, event planner. Okay. So you do big events or small events?
All kind of. Right from the smallest to the largest.
Okay. So if you had, for example, if you had a goal, if you had an endpoint, a kind of event that you want, right? And have you done events of like 10,000 people?
Yeah, 25,000.
25,000 people, 50,000 people?
Yes.
100,000 people? Okay. Would you want to do 100,000 people? You want to see her. If you want to run an event, you want to see this woman. So let's just say that you haven't done right now, there's a ceiling on what you've done.
I need to cross that?
If you want to,
I wish to.
yes, okay. Then what you want to investigate is what internal blocks may be there. What may I not be seeing? So we always look at the inside. We always look at the inside and try to see that. But then also in a practical way, in a business, in the business world, what action steps would you have to take in order to bring on a client who's running an event of 100,000 people or more? Okay. So you think about those things, and we help you think about those things, and that's as far as I can answer that one right now. Okay. Yeah. Now, if any of you are in a position of bringing us in as clients, we'll do it face to face too. But yeah, we do a lot of coaching on the phone. A lot of coaching on the phone, Skype, Zoom. There's all kinds of ways to do it. And in the course of the last few years, I don't have as many coaching students now as I did, but there was a time in which I was carrying 50 students, 50 coaching students, all over the world. And we did it by phone, Skype, Zoom. You do it, okay? You do it, and you set agendas, you set the goals, you set a business plan. We put out a business plan, and then the coach can also help you get to that plan, help you ask the kinds of questions that help you decide why you are achieving your plan, why you aren't achieving your plan, what are you doing. Sometimes a coach has to give a little boot in the butt because, you know, you're not doing what you said you're going to do. All right, let's move. Okay, 7 steps strategic planning process that we use. Now, this is in your book. This is in your book. So I'm gonna go quickly. I'm gonna go quickly, and I'm just gonna. And even the details that I want to show you very quickly. They're in your book. Okay. Team building is very important. There's one expression I want you to remember, and it's this: you can't plan your way out of the present. If you got problems right now with your team, anybody in your team, deal with the problems now. Deal with them now. Because that person, if you have a problem, is likely to sabotage your planning process. You know, I've used this expression many times here this week. Everyone, I'm sure, has an experience or a similar experience of one bad apple spoils the barrel. Isn't it the case that one person, one negative person can bring down 10? And it seems to be impossible for 10 positive people to bring up that one negative. Okay, so team building is very important. Who do you want on your team? Who do you want in your company? Okay, these are questions that you will ask. The details are in there. I'm just picking out people so I can get to the levels of infusion. Optimism. Optimism has been identified as the #1 determining success factor of an entrepreneur and a business person. Okay, so is your glass half empty, half full? I always say neither. My glass is over brimming with opportunities. My glass is over brimming with opportunities. That's how you want to see the world from my perspective. And when I make statements like that, you'll know that Jim does, and he's telling us that you should, I should too. So, okay. Defining characteristic of entrepreneurs is optimism. Optimism observes. Optimism observes, right? Observation, observer effect. Optimism observes opportunities. What are the opportunities? What are the opportunities? My friend Anil and I were talking about this today. And we were discussing opportunities. We were discussing looking at opportunities, observing opportunities. And the more we meditate on that, and the more we engage our subconscious on that, more opportunities will present themselves as ideas. Okay? But pessimistic person isn't going to go there. The pessimist will always find a reason not to do something, not to get out of his comfort zone. Okay, that's what they do. You know, well, what if this happens? Well, what if that happens? Oh my God, what if this happens? You don't want to hear that. Okay? Sometimes these are our family members. So we learn as part of the stop doing list to stop spending a lot of time with the people that don't support us. You know, reduce the time you spend. You have to spend time with people like that. Reduce the time you spend with people who don't support you fully and don't support your energy. It's a determinant of financial success. I have a friend who is a sales supervisor, and he discovered that the defining characteristic of good sales is an optimistic salesperson, regardless of whether that salesperson is aggressive or lazy or whatever it is. It's the optimist that wins the day, that gets the sale, that makes people feel good about dealing with. Optimism is positive energy. Pessimism is negative energy. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And he transformed a company from $1.2 million to 4.7. Well, excuse me, 1.7 to 4.2 in 6 months. And part of it means cleaning house. Part of it means cleaning house. So that if you're running a company and have employees that are negative, and you know they're negative, and that seems to be their DNA, maybe they should be somewhere else. Okay. I talked about this yesterday, that the gospel according to conventional marketing is go for the pain points, stress urgency, and scarcity. And that's marketing to fear and on the basis of poverty consciousness, what we call poverty consciousness as opposed to abundant consciousness. So what we want to do in a quantum activist, quantum economics business context, is create marketing that is based on, what's the opposite of fear? Love. Yeah. Create marketing that is essentially based on love, and it would be based on love if I were to say to you, you know, I see your plight, I have something that can, I really have service that can help you, I want to help you, and when you're ready, then let's talk. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to sell you anything. This is not, I have like 3 left and you have to hurry up and buy from me. No, I care about you. I care about you. And I know you care about yourself. So I want us to talk further, if you will, about how we might help each other grow together. You know, that's out of love. That's connection. That's love. And even though that was just on the spot kind of role playing, the positive energy there is manifest as opposed to trying to get the sale. And we've all been there. Have you all been desperate for a sale? Anybody here been desperate for a sale? Just 1, just 2, just 3, just 4? Let's come again. I have. Desperate for a sale. Desperation. Desperation. And guess what kind of energy you're putting out to your prospect? Desperation. You're putting out the energy. He doesn't care about me. He just wants to make the sale. Okay? You don't want that. You want to authentically care about people, and they will, you don't have to say, hey, I care about you. They will know by your energy and by how you approach things with them, whether you care about them or not, or whether you care mostly about the sale. You're getting all this, right? I'm zooming it in. Zoom it in. I'm going to do a summary sheet on the levels of infusion. That's why I'm running through this. But I want you to understand the importance of knowing who your competition is, and taking a really good, truthful, honest look at your competition. What are they doing well? What are they doing not so well that is an opportunity for you? What are they not doing at all that might be an opportunity for you? I've had many coaching clients like this where they actually have wanted to transition out of a job, out of working for somebody else, into their own business model. And the natural first step of that, and it's not inevitable, it's not causal, but in many cases, to take what they've been doing for someone else and to build their own firm around it, right? I'm thinking of one person I had in Canada, for example, who was a customer service representative for a hospital, who knew exactly the kinds of questions that she was getting and that the hospital did not serve, right? So she knew where the opportunities were, she knew where the gaps were. So she could fill those gaps with her own company. Okay, so, yes, quickly.
The 5 subtle energies
Yes.
mentioned yesterday. One of them is optimism, the first one, which you just went through.
No,
Optimism,
no, I'll get to it. I'll get to where optimism fits in. I'll get to it.
That in different ways, but I think the structure.
That's an emotion. Optimism is a wellness emotion. Optimism is a wellness emotion. Wellness emotions are aligned with what we call empowerment economics. Empowerment economics, wellness emotions. Okay? Scarcity economics, okay? Emergency emotions. You can even feel the difference. I can contract even just to say it. Right? Empowerment, economics, wellness emotions. Scarcity economics, right? Fear-based emotions, emergency emotions. Okay, but I'll talk about that. Okay, so let's go briefly over 4 levels of infusion of subtle energy. Okay. Oh, good. I have till 10:30, right, Rita? Is my session till 10:30? Yes. Excellent. Yes, well, Rita. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so here's a summary of the 4 levels of infusion of subtle energy, and I'm going to explain each of them. The 4th one's on the next page, next slide. I'm going to explain each of them, and then we're going to go into a set of questions, assessment questions, that we will, in working with you, we will take you through, we will guide you through the assessment of where are you right now? Where are you right now? There's everybody here is at some level, is at some degree of each of these levels. I guarantee you. Okay? But where are you? Where do you want to be? So how do we assess that? So, and the levels, by the way, you can be very strong on, let's say, level 2 or level 3, and weak on level 1. These are not in a linear fashion. You don't have to go from 1, and we're going to implement level 1, and when we're done implementing level 1, we're going to go to level 2, etc., etc. No. No. These are all simultaneous. You've got all 4 levels right now going. All 4 levels are going right now. It's just a matter of what degree are they going, and where do you want them to go. So, number 1 level, and this is somewhat of what I was asking you at the beginning of today. That we love you, but we would also love you to take away today an intention to apply the principles of quantum activism, apply the principles of quantum economics, right? Understand that your primary product really, it doesn't matter what you're doing, your primary product is a product of transformation. It's a product of helping grow human capital, the human being, the vital energies of the human being and the human spirit. Okay? That now, regardless, it doesn't matter if you sell pens or cars or events or what. How can I, in dealing with whoever I'm dealing with, be transformational in my exchange of energy with that person so that we both grow? And the product is not only that you get the contract for that 100,000 event, but you have cultivated a relationship where that person that you contract with is growing inside by virtue of their relationship with you. And that's a little about what coaching is, by the way. Those of you who are coaches or you're trainers, that's what it is. You know, that's what it is. You can think in terms of just the transaction, just the transactional, but it's much more gratifying for everybody to think in terms of the transformational. So, and I really mean with seriousness. When I'm dealing with you, my question becomes, how can I make this person feel better about themselves, happier? And part of it's coming from the fact that I know we all have similar samskaras. We all have things we're dealing with. We all have worthiness issues. We all have those issues, right? Where deep down somewhere, we believe often that we're not enough. So I want to help my clients know that they are enough. And I do so not just by giving them contractually the transaction that they pay for, but in my energy with them, I want to make sure that I reflect back to them their worthiness, their divinity, their enoughness, that they're enough. You know, some people are tough nuts to crack, so to speak. Tough nuts to crack. You know, they are addicted to pain. They're addicted to depression. They're addicted to those things. Irma alluded to it yesterday. I don't think I heard her talk specifically about the hypothalamus and neuropeptides and stuff like that. And it may be in this book, I don't remember, but she did talk about emotional addictions, right? She did talk about emotional addictions. So her point was, and again, she didn't want to stress it with us, you know, because that wasn't her lecture. But her point was that there are biochemical things going on with us. In every emotion we have, every action we take, every thought we think, okay, a neuropeptide is dumped into the bloodstream. And we can become addicted to our own biochemicals, our own endogenous. They're called endogenous because they're inside biochemicals, right? And causing us, you know, to go around depressed. And you know, if you go around depressed or anything that you recognize as negative, you can ask yourself, okay, time out. What's the upside for me? What am I getting out of this? This is a matter of being honest with yourself and wanting to grow. Wanting to grow. And I've spoken to a number of you here this weekend, talking about, well, you know, when you get yourself, and this is what I do, when I get myself into one of those funks, I call them a funk, you know, I'm either feeling apathetic or I'm feeling a little depressed, or what's it all worth, you know, poor me. When anybody gives me a poor me, I say to them, you know what? The sun shines on everybody equally. You're not that special. That the laws of the universe don't apply to you. Okay? So we can do what's called a pivot. When we get in those kinds of funks, we do a pivot. We feel it. What the pivot is, okay, find something in the situation that makes us feel good. Or ask the question, okay, so what do I want? What do I'm feeling really depressed? What do I want? Well, I want to feel better. Well, I'm still not feeling better. I'm just going through the motions. Okay, and so ask yourself, okay, Jim, what else do you want? Well, I want to feel productive. I want to feel bright. Okay, what else do you want? You're going to feel that energy shift if you allow yourself to pivot and ask yourself, what do I want? Because you know you want what you don't want is to be hooked on any kind of chemical, external or internal, right? So that's one of the strategies. That's one of the strategies that I use when I happen to be in a particular funk of feeling the doldrums. And we all get there. We all get there. The trick is, how quickly can we get out? How quickly can we get out and not allow ourselves to be sucked in for any time that continues to drain us? Okay. So our intentionality of purpose is to be in alignment with the purposive evolution of consciousness. What does that mean? That means to represent in our lives, to strive in our lives, to represent the highest archetype of whoever we are in its fullness, in its authenticity. It's another way of saying that is, you know, Maslow's hierarchy, the bottom needs, the physiological needs, the top need as fulfillment, as actuality. That's where our commitment is. Our intention is to go there, to be there. And I'll add to that, my intention is to bring you with me, you know, or push each other along. However you will pull each other along, whatever it takes for us to experience the highest values, the highest reality, highest experience of life. And to educate, here's the educate consumers, educate your consumers on the implications of their buying decisions. Educate consumers on the implications of your buying decisions. Now that would mean, one of the implications is this. Going green is good. Going green is good. Why is going green good? Why is it good? Why do I say it's good? I proclaim it's good. Am I right or wrong? Why is it good?
Reduces the carbon footprint.
Speak up.
Reduces the carbon footprint.
I didn't hear.
Reduces the carbon footprint.
Well, reduce the carbon footprint. What does going green acknowledge? What does it acknowledge?
Growth, wellness.
Growth, wellness, what else? Prosperity, sure. All these things. What else? Okay, let me reframe it.
Healthy.
What does going green represent in terms of quantum principles? What does it acknowledge? Fullness, stop to go? Like that traffic signal.
Well-being.
Fullness, what else?
Transformational.
Transformational, what else?
Sustenance.
Why should, let me reframe the question. Why should I care? Why should I care? Because I am part of it. Who said that? because I am part of it. Non-locality. We're all part of the same non-locality. What I do, what you do, and what I do impacts each other. It impacts each other. It impacts the world. And when you understand, I don't know that Amit went discussed quite this yesterday when he discussed reincarnation, but we're not just, all of us have heard the expression, well, we're gonna leave a better world for future generations, right? That includes us. Think about it. That includes us. So we're doing for ourselves now, and we're doing for ourselves later, and we are doing for future generations. So to educate the consumer has to do with helping them understand, again, as a quantum activist, where you are either implicitly or explicitly teaching the quantum principles, the oneness, if you will. You want to look at, in terms of spiritual terms rather than just quantum terms. Then why is it important? Why is it important for somebody who might say to you, well, I won't be around, that's their problem. No, it's your problem too. Because on the basis of your beliefs and your understanding now of karma and reincarnation and so forth, we will be back. Okay? I have to diverge. That just reminded me. I have to tell you a little story. May I?
Yeah.
Little story about
Yes.
little story. I was at a no ego course, 1989. And throughout the week, it was identify your ego type. Identify your ego type. That story and the ego types is in this book. So, but I'm just going to briefly tell you the thing. And all week we were identifying our egos, and you're supposed to identify your ego, identify your ego, identify your ego, and by the end of the week, okay, I had identified my ego, but there was an opportunity now. Community members of the particular Sangam who were well known were invited up to a platform to essentially get grilled. Okay, that's what it was. They were skewered. Their egos were really, destroyed. Well, it's my nature to put myself in the fire. So when an opportunity was offered that anybody else who wants to come up on a platform, boom, that's all I had to do was hear that. And I jumped up and I'm on that platform. And I won't go through the graphic details, but I was sweating from head to foot. Let's put it that way. I was trembling and I was sweating from head to foot. But all week, the last question that the people were asked is, what do you want as your epitaph? What do you want as your epitaph? Right? So I'm ready for this one. I might have gotten beat up on the platform, but I figure I'm ready for this one. Right? And we also have to step back once. We also believed that the MC was being fed exactly what to say to the person on the platform from our guru. Okay? Gurus see everything. Okay? Again, I'm not going to get into gory details of what that meant for me. But I was ready. What do you want your epitaph to say? And I said, he won't be back. Right? Right? Realization, he won't be back. And without missing a beat, the MC said, at the rate you're going, you'll be back. So we'll be back. We'll be back. So let's make the most of it. And there are people, maybe not in this tradition, but you hear a lot. People will say, hey, we only go around once, make the most of it. And we can just brush that off. We don't have to fight with anybody about anything that we believe or they believe. It's love that we want. It's greater expansiveness, wider and wider circles, Okay. So you would educate your packaging, even down to your packaging of your product, whatever it is, or the marketing of your service, whatever it is. You will find a way to educate the highest principles. And I don't mean that you have to put on your packaging, all is one and you'll be back, so you better be good while you're here. But you'll find a way, and you'll be cognizant. You'll see in the questions I'm going to ask you. You will monitor what you're doing and making sure that it is in alignment with the highest principles and the principles of quantum and the principles that you believe, and the spiritual principles that you believe. It's just a matter, often it's just a matter of observing, right? If we observe it, we bring it into our purview. If I don't ask the question, I can very easily go off. Wrong action rather than right action. I can very easily put something out in the marketplace that I don't realize is not what I wanted. And not only has the reverse effect in terms of sales that I want, but in fact damages my brand, damages my public image and so forth. So we are more circumspect. That's another observation word. We are more circumspect about what we do and what we put out there. We observe it, okay? Subtle energy level 2, that was your social contribution. That was social contribution. Finding a way, and my words here are, to promote, to commoditize, to support development of human capital. Okay? Through your products, through your service, through charity, and inviting others to do the same. And I pointed out, and it's, again, all this is in the book, that mission belt was a good example. I think you might be able to find even better examples right in your own backyard of the purpose driving the profit, not the other way around. Not the other way around. And what that means is, in fact, this just occurred to me, so thank you, Lord, and non-local consciousness, and I just lost it. When something like that comes from, thank you, I got it again. It means, in so many words, that everything we do is kind of cause-driven, right? It's cause-driven. I don't mean, superhuman cause, you have to go out and a crusade or anything like that. But when you think about it, it's all cause-driven. And the cause could be something dear to your heart, the charity dear to your heart. The cause can be acknowledging that this world that I live in, I am likely to be living in again, and I want to have the highest experience, and I want to help everybody in my circle have the highest experience, the highest value. Okay? So that's that's cause-driven. Or to find your specific purpose, and to articulate one. I want to challenge everyone to do that. I want to challenge everyone to do that. And it doesn't have to be like mine. Those of you who came in a little late, of the many years in which I've been kind of doing what I'm doing, right? And I see myself as the potentializer. I see myself as the empowerer. Okay? And at the same time, I've always been, my philosophical bent has been what's called philosophical idealism. Everything is consciousness. Everything is mind. How do I pull it all together? All the personal development I had, even after my terminal degrees. How do I pull it all together? And so I articulated it in a statement. So I'd like to challenge you, I'd like to invite you and challenge you to do the same for yourself. Okay? Because I know now that everything I do, every word that comes out of my mouth, I believe, somebody might call me on it someday when they know me well enough, but every word that comes out of my mouth is to advance the universal conversation that consciousness creates. Everything, that we are that consciousness, and that we are empowered and responsible to create our day, our life, our future, and our destiny. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about. So that's what I try to stay in alignment with. That's my cause. That's my purpose. That's my calling. Okay? In terms of alignment now with the archetype, that's Jim. That's his personal thing. In alignment, I asked you, so I challenge you to do that, and I challenge you to through meditation, through deep meditation, through the BBB part of creative thinking, to identify, if you don't already know, what attractor fields, what archetypes are attracting you in this life. Attracted you, which ones you chose to manifest in this life, taking birth in this life. Then again, I invite you to take a look at that, get a handle on that, and feel right with that. And you'll know if it's right or if it's not right. Okay? You'll know it by the feeling. So this is the social contract. Level 2 infusion of subtle energies is the social contribution. Social contribution. Level 3 is to talk about attentiveness. Level 3 is your customer service model and revamping that. The book talks about revolutionizing your customer service model and wowing. How do you wow your customer or client? This notion of wow grew out of 1990s, I think. Tom Peters, kind of a radical management guru at the time. He was the first one that, well, at least that I read, this was talking about the wow. And everything had to be a wow experience. And it's true, how do you wow? Now, what kind of energy is in a wow? Is that positive or negative? Positive. It's darn positive, isn't it? You say you want to wow. You want to wow, you want the wow to be part of your culture. You want the wow to be part of your culture, and obviously people reflect your culture. And if there are people that are bringing down the wow, then they don't belong with you. Okay. Now, I know through my various associations, I happen to know the president of High Point University in North Carolina in the United States, who he's an amazing gentleman. He has a director of wow. I'm serious. There's a position. There's a position. This is serious. He's got a director of wow. Someone once said, now I don't know if this is true. Perhaps the same person can handle both jobs. He's got a director of unwow. He's got somebody responsible for monitoring almost on a day-to-day basis the unwows and purging the unwows from that university experience for the students. That's an amazing, amazing thing. One of the exercises in your book is to take a piece of paper. Don't do it now, we don't have time, but in your book, I mean, have fun with this. Have fun with this. Make a list. The left side of the 3 columns, single sheet of paper, 3 columns. First column on the left is every way in which right now you wow your customer or client. Middle column is every way in which you unwow the client. You know, what's not going right that you feel like turn the other head? Well, there's a problem with our online system for acquiring customers or fulfilling orders and all. We can't deal with it right now, and we'll just have to wait until we have more time or more money. That's a major unwow. And of course, that's going to cause you to spend more time and more money, and it's going to cost you money because people aren't going to want to deal with you if they've been unwowed. Okay? So you got the wow column on the left, you got the unwow column on the right, and then what are we going to put on the center? What are we going to put on the right? What will we put? Future wows. Future wows. Future wows. This is like a bow wow, right? Future wows. Future wows. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So we want to be attentive. We want to be attentive. And this, of course, is reflected in the higher chakras. Now, I didn't show you this, and I don't have time to show you this time. And
Can you give us an example of a couple of
Wows.
wows and unwows?
a couple of wows and a couple of unwows. Yeah.
And future wows.
Jeez, I got it right. Okay. So one of the case studies in the book is a friend of mine, Mr. Rekey. Mr. Rekey Inc. Rekey means he helps you rekey locks and things like that.
Okay.
Now, the other interesting thing is that I chose him. I chose Mission Belt because it was mission. I chose Mr. Rekey because what we're saying is this applies to any business, I don't care what it is, right? Mr. Rekey. So Mr. Rekey, first of all, in terms of his customer service, he's not selling keys and locks. He sells his wow is selling a security for your home, selling a security, helping you feel good, helping you feel secure and safe, knowing you're taking great care of your family and what have you. So he wows in the way he even approaches it, and he gives extra sets of keys, and he has a social contribution element where old keys and so forth get melted down and converted into money, and they go to entrepreneurial ventures. So if I'm a client of his, as opposed to anyone else that I might choose to rekey my locks, I'm going to pick him because, at least I would, because he's doing something good. Yes, he's providing a service or a product, but in addition to that, he's doing something that wows me. He's doing something that is helping cultivate my wellness emotions. My wellness emotions. I feel secure. I trust him. Trust is another big wellness emotion. So he's helping cultivate trust in me. You know, we've heard the expression, I mentioned to someone, I don't see her here today, but yesterday I had a couple questions, and you've probably all heard this expression. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. know, like, and trust. There are a lot of people out there that are doing business who are unlikable, untrustworthy, and you don't know them, and maybe you're forced to use them because you need a product or a service in a pinch. Okay? But lifetime customers, lifetime value of the people whose capital you're cultivating, it's because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. So this attentiveness to that is, okay, what am I providing? What am I not providing that you need? Okay? As opposed to, hey, this is what I do. You got this need, too bad. Doesn't fit into my business model. And we sell keys here. I'm sorry, we sell keys. If you want security, if you want to feel good, go to somebody else. That's what I mean. All right, let me keep rolling. I didn't give you a future wow, but we need to get done in a few minutes. Fourth one, and this is where the positive brain circuitry. This is probably one of the most defining characteristics of a quantum activist, quantum economics business model. Okay, they all are. But this whole notion of working toward transcending hardwired negative brain circuitry and building a culture of love, a culture of wellness emotions rather than emergency emotions. This is pivotal. This is critical. Okay, this is where the way we framed it is every stakeholder in your business, every stakeholder in your company that you don't always have dealings with. If some of you have companies that are large enough to have boards, you've got executive teams, you've got employees, sometimes these are hundreds of people. Not just the customer, not just the client. Your intention, your commitment in building human capital and building wellness emotions and fashioning a workplace of positive brain circuitry, positive emotions, just another way of saying positive emotions, means a commitment to every single person in your organization. Every single person. There's another TV show in the States called Underground Boss. So the CEO of the companies go underground and they do the employees' work with the employees, and then they debrief. So it's like, walk a mile in another man's shoes kind of thing, so that you understand what are the needs and how can I really be of service to you, help you. And again, once again, help you feel good about yourself. Help you feel good about yourself. So these are in the book. You'll revisit them. You'll think them through in terms of certainly some of your meditations and some of your creative thinking, where you will pose the question to yourself: how do I do this? How do I increase level 1? How do I increase level 2, level 3, level 4? And you will let these emerge. You will let these incubate, and you will not demand an answer on the spot or anything like that. That cuts off creativity. Subconscious has to have time to mull things over, but things will appear to you. Now, we've asked a number of questions. This is where I'm going to wrap up for today. And once again, I want to remind you to sign that sheet that's going around so that I can do a half-hour consultation with you on pretty much anything you want, but I'd like to frame it as an assessment of what you're doing, and I will have some kind of questionnaire or survey instrument to guide us along that. But whatever specific question you have that you're having a problem with in your business, I will give my time to you in order to help you resolve that. So we ask a set of questions. There are 44 questions, 12 per each of the levels of subtle infusion. Okay? They're not the only 12. 44 aren't. It doesn't have to be 44. It could be 87. It could be 93. Whatever it is. In other words, these are guidelines for you in then asking your own questions. And we ask the question. Remember, we're asking the question. That pulls that you're observing. That pulls the answer, and it pulls the reality, the current reality. It pulls the answer to the question. It pulls the future all into your purview. Okay? So, first one, you engage in level 1. I'm not going to repeat level 1. I didn't put yes and no, I put yes and not yet. because you've given us a commitment, Dr. Goswami, they've given us a commitment. Have you not given us a commitment? I actually asked for the commitment. I didn't survey the group. Do we have your commitment to take this knowledge and these principles back and apply them to? Okay. So we have the commitment. We have the commitment that each one of these beautiful people are going to take the principles of quantum activism and quantum economics back to their lives and businesses and apply them to the extent possible, and gradually more. So the question is not yes or no. The question is yes or not yet. Not yet. Not yet acknowledges I have the commitment. I'm going to do it. Not yet. Okay, I'm not currently doing it. Okay. So what degree? So level 1, if yes, approximate degree of commitment is evidenced in your business practices. High, medium, low. That's all. You see, think about it. Think about it with your team. Right? Team building was the number one step in the strategic planning process. And while I was unable here today to speak about each of the principles of quantum vis-a-vis team building, it's in your book. Okay, so it's in your book. So what does that mean? That means that one of those principles is tangled hierarchy, yes? So you're not going to be, if you're the CEO, we're not going to engage in a simple hierarchy where you demand from your team, or you're the one that runs the show, or you will decide what questions are asked. No, you're one of the team. You're head honcho or not, you're one of the team, because there's a tangled hierarchy. So as a team, all of these are team questions, team answers. To what degree are you, if you are implementing, to what degree? High, medium, low. Get a consensus on it. Get a consensus on it. Okay. Describe your business practices that evidence each level. Let's say these are, yeah. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is this. Very briefly. Turn this off. And I'm just going to, because I don't remember where on the slideshow it is. But in your book, very quickly, very quickly, starting on page 95. Starting on page 95. We're just going to go through a couple of these questions to give you a sense of what I'm talking about. Those three questions were the overview questions that we want you to answer for each of the levels: high, medium, low. Where are you in this? But you take, for example, level 1 infusion of subtle energy, intention, and education. Okay. Question number 1. These are yes or no's. Our business model is driven by purpose. Profit will follow. Yes or no?
Yes.
No. All right. Good. Our core values, principles, practices demonstrate alignment with the purposive evolution of consciousness. Right? Now you have some understanding of what that is, and I think Dr. Goswami may go a little more into that as well. But you're asking yourself, am I in alignment? This is how I understand the purposive evolution of consciousness. Am I in alignment with this? You're asking yourself, and you're saying yes or no. And if it's yes, great, you can ask to what degree. And if it's no, then you could begin to incorporate into your planning how to do so. What does it mean, how to do so? How do we modify our own behavior, our own modus operandi, perhaps our own products and services, so that we are in purposive evolution, alignment with purposive evolution of consciousness. One more, this action, product, service, program is in our alignment with our purpose, vision, and mission. You'd be surprised how many times it is not. But when you ask that question, it begs for an answer. Okay? So again, you have to be honest with yourself. You'll see that one of the steps, I think it's step number 2 of the strategic planning process, is vision and mission. Critical. We didn't get a chance to go over it, but it's in the book. It's in the book. Okay? Mission is to create a mission for yourself, just think of these 3 things. Who am I, or whom do I serve? What do I do, and how do I do it? Who am I? What do I do? How do I do it? And create that mission statement for yourself. Now, when you ask the question, this action, product, service, program, it's in alignment with that mission. It's going to be a yes or no. Okay? I get a lot of questions sometimes when I'm teaching where people they're faced with lots of opportunities that are totally incongruent with who they are or what their business model is, but they want to jump on it because they see a profit here. They see a profit here. And they'll ask me, should I do that? And I'll say, is this in alignment with who you are? Is it in alignment with your mission? Yes or no? Does it add to your brand equity or does it detract from your brand equity? Yes or no? Not really. Then no. Don't do it. What's the answer? You just give me your answer. You don't do it. Okay. So each of the 4 levels, in the interest of time, you'll go to those pages, you'll meet with your team. And if you don't have a team, if you're a solopreneur, as we call them, great. You're still going to ask yourself these questions of how you service the market and how you transact with the marketplace, with other people you know, okay? In building that relational capital, not only in providing the service or product that you are offering. Rita, you will have the handout sheet, the sign-up sheet, okay? At the end. No, that's okay. At the end. I've just been reminding people that they have that opportunity if you want to, and I encourage you to take it. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of time that I'm willing to, do for you to help you continue what we started here this weekend. Okay? You have all the information. Now you have an opportunity. So when that sheet comes around, I want to encourage you to sign up. Finally, I just want to say what a delight it has been for me to be with you. It really has. I didn't know what to expect. And every time I'm with Dr. Goswami, every time, something else comes out. Something else comes out that I remember. This is the beauty of it all. The soul remembers. I remember. And he helps me remember. Okay? And he helped me remember again, this time, the love I had and how I used to chant and love. You missed the chant, but we're going to chant with you. So how I love that. How I love being a musician, how I love to chant, how I love to sing, and how, circumstances. The ensemble broke up for whatever reasons, and I withered away with it, with regard to that love I have for chanting. So once again, he reminded me. You people have been great. You've been attentive. You've been interactive. Again, I don't know what I expected, but I think that you allowed me to push the envelope a little bit, which is what I asked you to do. And there's some things that you're not doing that would be better for you to do as a business owner. I think together we enhanced each other's experience. I like to feel that way because you certainly enhanced mine. And as I say, I see myself as helping you with your potential and helping empower you to do what you want to do in the world, to serve in the world, and to help us grow more human capital and more, generally speaking, more love. So I thank you very much. Namaste.